The chapter's title is Enlightenment. So before we continue further into the rabbit hole of my life, let's get a few things straight and out on the table. First of all, there are so many bullshit stories of vampires and werewolves out there that I've lost track over the past century. So let's go ahead and give a decent outline of what these mistakes before I continue any further in my own story. 1. Vampires are soulless, undead creatures that feed on blood. They are killed by sunlight and wood. Decapitation works as well, but I'm sorry, for most humans, you're not fast enough to pull that off. Yes, I know many stories tell of human sacrifices and fights. I've done one past it. Sadly, it took over 1,000 years to have a human tell a story that comes even remotely close. And that was the Vampire Diaries on TV, mixed with an interview with a vampire. And you have a real-life version of a vampire in your head if you can put these two together. They're fast, strong, and irresistible to humans. Much like in the diaries, they also have the ability of compulsion. It's not nearly as effective in real life, but, you know, Hollywood does make things better. Don't get me wrong, they aren't all bad. But if you feel you want to date one like you see on TV, I'd rather you put yourself in a padded room for your own protection. Oh, and magic can protect them from the sunlight, but witches and vampires rarely get along so well. 2. Most werewolves are not shapeshifters. Yes, there are some that can go completely wolf, but sadly, for the most part, Teen Wolf got most of the story quite closely accurate. Except the whole extra powers and different people being able to do different things as wolf things. This is all Hollywood. Try thinking of Teen Wolf mixed with the hybrids from the Vampire Diaries, and you got a little bit closer picture. Although the only thing most don't pick up on after movies like Wolfman, they are immortals as well. The only difference is that they will continue aging until hitting a prime or some sort of adolescence. Which is odd because they're also the only immortals that can reproduce. Even myself, I cannot have children of my own. But I have tried several million times. 3. Witches are real, and they are total assholes. Strangely enough, most lore is accurate on witches. There are so many different types of witches, though, that I'm not even going to try to outline them for you. Watch a bunch of witch movies, and enough said. 4. And this is the one that is going to blow your minds. The supernatural and afterlife? Totally freaking real. I mean, come on, how many idiots got to come forth claiming they've seen the light for the human race to pick up on it? I will never know, but newsflash for everyone. The big guy? Yeah, he's real. And so is hell. And the demons created there. But that's an entirely different story for an entirely different time. Now, I'm sure you're wondering where I'm going with all this. And wondering also why I'm calling the first chapter Enlightenment. Well, it's simple, really. I'm writing all this down because I'm honestly tired of being alone and knowing all the things I've learned. I also may be a tad bit sour with how many different stories are written that are nowhere close to accurate. So Twilight fans probably shouldn't keep reading from here because, let's face it, there is no real glamorous side to the story I'm about to tell. So let's not imagine a love story. All that being said, I left off telling of my choice to hunt the things that go bump in the night. Well, that wasn't difficult for me. Since I've chosen to reveal some of the truths behind the myths of the rest of the famous immortals, why don't I explain a little further about myself? Well, let's start with the cool stuff. I can run like the Flash. I can smash like the Hulk. Oh, I basically heal like Wolverine. Unfortunately, I also must feed on human blood from time to time. I still crave animal nourishment, but unfortunately, if I don't feed on human blood, I lose strength and speed that I just can't have without it. Which wouldn't be so bad, but as I've said before already, when I feed, it's like they become a part of me and I have their memories to haunt me. If anything is a curse, that would be the worst one I could think of, to imagine the straight and narrow path while still having to feed on the innocent. Yeah, those are going to be some pretty fucked up memories to have to be stuck with, but this is my life. So let's talk about where I'm at now. Last I told of being in England. For the sake of saving time, we will leave out the days before becoming a Ripper of England. Once authorities kept calling them murderers, I chose to once again return to the New World. I figured it easier to hunt somewhere that the plague of vampire hadn't reached. Not to mention, I am a very curious man. Until I went to the New World, I'd never felt magic strong enough to affect me. So that drew me back eagerly. Once in the New World, though, I was met with harsh reality that werewolves and vampires were both growing in numbers here as well, which kept me fairly busy in the first few months. It also surprised me very much, so how much change had come to the new land in only a few hundred years. Funny thing is, time for me is different than it is for you. I used to have to grasp onto time in a way that an adult notices a child. No. These contacts are fucking with me now. Now, my concept of time is misconstrued greatly. But that's an explanation for another time.